Good morning, everyone. Well, here we are back with the regulation for the masks. I see that everybody's got it already. You already got it. Everybody's here with a mask on. So they got that word out. They told me, though, that if the COVID cases drop over the next 21 days, they'll go back to no mask required. So it's incumbent upon us to not come down with the COVID-19, any variation of it, no way, okay? So do whatever you can to stay safe and stay out of the way, because we'd like to go on. At some point, we're gonna have to get on beyond COVID-19. And we're gonna do it by thinking more positively that we are automatically immune. All right, so let's do some of that. Is there anybody here from another Unity church or center? Is there anybody here for the first time? Raise your hand, please. Hi. We have a gift for you. They're right down here in the center. Thank you. Right. We appreciate you showing up and trying our Unity Center Church here, and I'm sure you're going to find it really insightful. I know that our speaker today, Syntsyche, is going to open you up to the basic truths of unity. Very important, something we know. No matter what is taking place in our lives, if we'll just go back to the 5 basic truths of unity, we can handle it beautifully. So keep that in mind and enjoy this service.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. I'd like to say hi to everyone here who's joining us in-house and everyone who's watching us online. We love having you with us. It is literally our pleasure. My name is Mike Shadle. I'm the administrator here at Unity of Boulder. If you ever have any questions or anything or just comments or whatever, or just want to say hi, my office is right in there in the back of the bookstore, so always drop on in. I have the distinct pleasure of getting to come out here and do announcements about upcoming events. So starting next Tuesday, Syntsyche is having a woman's book group. The book is titled The Undefended Self. We have the book in the store. It's $20. It's $65 to register for the 6-week class. It takes place over the course of 6 Tuesdays from 6 to 7:30 right here in Fellowship Hall. Registration is limited, so if you're interested, please make sure to sign up now. Syntsyche's book groups are always well attended, and it's usually the same people coming back and back because they're so good, so make sure you sign up for that. I have our good friend here, Andy Lennick, who's just rejoined us as the head of our Uniteens department. That's our middle school age students, as evidenced by these 2 lovely young ladies. So, what you got for us, Andy?
60 seconds or 90 seconds?
68.
How many people were here last week? Okay, so last week I had a tie, and Mike said if I show up 3 weeks in a row, I can lose the tie. So I feel much more comfortable today. I am going to just continue to come up here and harangue you. No, to gently, lovingly convince you how important youth programs are in Unity of Boulder. And not just the Uniteens program, although my heart is absolutely involved with them, but youth in general. And I'm going to ask you, let me back up a second. To me, the highest form of living is service. I'm also very blessed to have been called back to Unity and to be working with incredible young adults like these. So I am going to give you a challenge. Go out and start talking up this program. Not just the Uniteens program, but all of the Unity youth programs. I've been having great conversations with Syntsyche. We're going to be doing a major outreach, but we really need to rely on our congregation. Even if you don't have kids, go out and tell people, tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell everybody that Unity has great youth programs that are expanding and that will be of tremendous service to all young people. And, that was a little bit of a stick. So the carrot is this. If you go out and you tell one person, you get 5 karma points. And if you tell 10 people, that's 100 karma points. They get higher the more people you tell. And if you actually bring somebody in, you get 1,000 karma points. Now, right now, the value of that is just between you and God. But I'm going to be working with the Unity people to see if they have any value in the bookstore. But do please promote these programs, and we're going to keep you in touch with what's going on here as they grow, and you can absolutely expect many, many more incredible young adults like these 2 young ladies as we continue with this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks, Andy. In the future, please discuss your karma promotions with us first before telling the audience. And coming up September 22nd, we have our fall Equinox celebration led by Norma. And that's, if the weather's good, that's going to be out back, out by our garden. If not, it'll be here in Fellowship Hall. And that's, there's no fee, or you don't have to sign up for that. Anyone can come. It's going to be at 8 p.m. following our meditation service that Wednesday evening. You can bring, if you have a hand drum, bring it. There's lots of drumming, chanting, and singing, and it's a wonderful time and everyone can come, even kids can come. So come on out for that. Now I'd like to have Steve come on out here, who's going to get us going with some prayer.
Good morning. Let us now take a moment for prayer. And we do this first by relaxing into our chair, breathing, and just let go. In prayer, we make space for that greater truth and that greater power. Father, Mother, God, thank you for your ever-present, unconditional love. Thank you for your ever-present, unconditional love. So even though with our eyes we see conflict and discord in the world, and we may feel sadness in our heart, when we turn within and center ourselves, we can remember beyond our limited perception and beyond those fears that there is a universal order. There is peace. There is light. Father, Mother, God, Spirit, we are grateful that Spirit is like a beautiful mosaic that exists behind all things, that exists in all places. A divine order, a divine harmony that we can call upon anytime. So in this moment now, see that beautiful mosaic of Spirit in your heart. Feel that mosaic in your heart. And see that beautiful mosaic of Spirit in all aspects of your life. Feel and see that beautiful mosaic coming from Spirit, coming from your heart, and expanding out into the world. In prayer, we can relax into the peace and the power of Spirit. When we are centered in Spirit, we are the light that transforms the world. Centered in Spirit, we are the light that transforms the world. And to this we say, Amen.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start by singing. We always say to sing is to pray twice. So we invite you to stand up and sing a song that we all know. And we want to remind you that actually when he was singing about Mother Mary in this number, he's actually singing about his mother, Mary. So we can enfold ourselves with Mother Mary, the mother of Jesus, or we can think of what our mothers, the insights that she brings to our lives as well.
Overhead with what we're singing, that would be really awesome. Okay.
We'll all appreciate
that
it.
really
Thank
helps,
you.
you know.
For you guys too, not just for us up here.
Let's start over.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Right on.
Beautiful singing. Thanks, my love. Appreciate it. All right. Well, that was a nice way to start. I always love that song. And I always love the thought of Mother Mary, Christ's mother, giving us insights from that divine feminine. So today is my third talk of a 5-talk series on unity, going back to the basics, and we're covering the 5 basic principles of unity. And today, I'm not doing them in order. That's just not my nature. I like to scramble things up a little bit. So today we're doing one of 5, and it says this: there is only one presence and one power active as the universe and in my life, God the good. There's only one presence and one power active as the universe and in my life, God the good. So if you guys have attended the last two services and you haven't, you can witness them on our website at unityofboulder.com, and people that are joining us online. The first one was on visualization and what we see in our mind's eye, we actually create. That the body and the being doesn't know the difference between an imagined experience and an actualized experience. We actually create it from that. And then last week was the power of our words and what we manifest from what we say. So we've become very conscious about what we're thinking and what we've been saying. And now we're becoming conscious of the presence and the power of God, and it being only from good. The omnipresence of that good. And living the truth of Unity Principle 1 means we must be willing to view all events in the world or in our own lives through the lens of only one power and one presence, active everywhere for everyone. We must remind ourselves that this power and presence, which we call God, is the principle of the good, or absolute good, active and everywhere present. The test we all have before us in living Unity Principle 1 is to know and to see the power and presence of this good everywhere, in all circumstances, without exceptions. And that's where it gets a little sticky, and that's where it gets a little hard, to lean upon every single thing that happens in the universe comes from God, comes from good. So when we look upon climate change or our political system at the time, or having to put masks back on after getting a few months of a break from that, we observe the weather patterns and how they're devastating, New York City now in places that it didn't used to. We ask ourselves, where is the good in all of this? And where is God in all of this, right? So we have to take to task what our belief is about what God is, right? And for me, I think the greatest way to discover God is in nature, right? When we look at the presence of love that expands through animals, through plants, through flowers, through all the things that we have no say over, but it just surrounds us constantly, that there's nothing but beauty, right? We can look upon their earth changes, and we can look at and say, and we can call it bad, right? We make the meaning of things being good or bad, depending on where our consciousness lies. So once we've established the truth of this principle in our consciousness, we allow it to transform all of our thoughts, words, and actions. Seeing only one power and one presence, we live our lives in accordance with the truth that there is nothing or no one that can actually, in reality, oppose the power of God. From this perspective, there is no real spiritual need or cause to fear in our consciousness. Just because we may not yet be able to see the good in situations where we believe there is no opportunity for good does not mean good is not present. If you are ever in doubt about this, simply bring Unity Principle number 1 to mind, then choose accordingly. None of us really know, when it comes to major things happening in the world, what is going to come about from all of this, right? We're seeing a lot of things changing. And I remember watching the governor of New York saying, we have to fix the infrastructure for the change in the weather patterns, not for just this one time, but now we have to expect that it's always going to be like this, right? So we're changing the infrastructure of the roads and the subways and all these things. And my whole body went, oh, wow, so we're accepting that this is the weather patterns, which accepting things does help us find more peace, but speaking it out to the universe that this is now the constant. We're all discovering what that constant is now, right? We've all watched things changing, things falling away, like our freedoms to whether we want to wear a mask or not, or, we're just seeing a lot of turmoil, right? And again, we get to decide whether we look at it as it's good or if it's bad. And from a Christ consciousness level, sometimes we don't have to know what it's going to be down the road. All we can take to task is our own understanding with our own relationship with this greater power of love. Right? What is it all about? That's the big question. My big question that I like to live with, and the most curious part of myself, is why are we here? What is it all for? What is my personal purpose in this life? What is the unfoldment that I want to create? And living from a state of wonder, reminding ourselves that our good has not left us, but a wonderful time for discovering is abound and in our presence, right? My daughter, Arenya, who's 24 now, as a child, loved watching Harry Potter movies. She loved all sorts of crazy movies like that. And I just found them to be very, very long. And I know there's Harry Potter fans out there, and I have to say, I've never liked movies like that. They're not my thing. They're just not my job. I'm bored out of my mind. But I sat through all of them. And I remember the last one when it came out, I went to the movie theater. I think that one was extra long. And we were leaving the movie theater, and Arenya was crying. I said, "What are you crying about?" And she said, "I feel like that's the end of my childhood." Like that was her thing. She loved the magic of all of it. And she said, "I don't get why you don't get into the magic of all of it. I don't get it, you know?" So we had this really deep talk in the car afterwards. And I said to her, when you look through a lens of a spiritual life, you're looking for the miracles and the mystical experience in what is actually in the presence. I don't want to look at something that's not real. I want to discover that magic right here in my experience, and I've experienced those things. I want to understand how we connect with our dead loved ones. I want to understand how I can call my ancestral family members to come into the presence, and I can learn from what they learned so I don't have to carry any of that and do even better here. I want to discover the capacity of what Christ was saying when he said, "You can do these works and so much more." He wasn't a way shower to say, "Look at me, look what I can do. I can heal the lame, I can bring the sight to blind people. I can overcome anything," because what he said is, I go up to the mountain, or he goes up to the other rooms. He talked, there was many rooms that we could go to. And I want to know the different rooms, because the rooms that go up towards the heavens are like connected areas, which is the spiritual connection, where we're divinely connected. I know we're pointing the sky, and it's really in the midst of us. It's really here. But it's going up in consciousness is what it's talking about. When he did a miracle, he entered to heal a lame person, and he entered in through the roof of the house. You'll see that he's always going up into something. It's never going down into a situation to actually heal someone. Always in the Bible, you'll see he's always lifting up, and it's talking about metaphysically us going up into a higher state of consciousness to understand what we need to understand. And then apply that understanding, and then actualize that in life, and create and feel and taste the miracle this life has created for us. So I'm not against Harry Potter, and the Narnia movies or all those things, but I'd much rather watch shows on near-death experiences. I want to talk to the people that have actually touched into the other side. I love Edgar Cayce's books because he talks about how we can actually build a relationship from this earthly life to the ethereal life, the life that we've spent more time in actually than the physical. This is just temporary. This is a temporary visit. Each time it's a temporary visit. And then we go home. And every near-death experience talks about we go home in a way that when we're there, it's so much more home than coming back here, right? But so many people spend their lives in fear of the end, right? And there's so much schooling that happens on this site. So I want to download what I learned from my other lifetimes. I want to download the things of my ancestral guides and spirit guides. And I want to live in a state of I can think and have. I can have an intention, and if it's not exactly the intention that I put out to this universe, that I trust that, first of all, it will be better than what I could think of for myself, because usually it's just limitation, that we can't even see how largely we could have an intention for something, but also to live in a state of flexibility, getting out of a rigidity, and moving with the current of spirit and letting it move us into the direction of that which is being called for each and every one of us when it's time. And when we put that intention out there, like, I'm whole, like we use the I ams, I am whole, or I am healed. I don't want this chronic illness anymore. I don't even have to think about it. I am healed. Visualize that picture and let the universe come in and do what it needs to do. Guide you to the right healers, guide you to the right intuitive person to help you get back to your wholeness. So I watched a wonderful video on Gaia TV. If you all haven't heard of it, it's a wonderful station that you can pay to watch. Wonderful spiritual teachers, authors, people that have near-death experiences, people that connect with UFOs and aliens. It's like, I love that stuff too, I have to say. I'm all sorts of wacky. My kids are always like, God, you're always watching ghost shows. Or I love looking at this universe and how magical it is. It's just so amazing and fun and cool. So a friend of mine had told me that he had just watched a video on Gaia, and I had actually let my subscription lapse. But what he was saying is like, I have to start it again. And so I looked it up, and it was a gentleman named Jeffrey Olson that his video just came up about his story. And Jeffrey Olson was talking about how 20 years ago, his life had come together in an incredible way. He was married to his college sweetheart, a woman that he knew was his soulmate the second he met her. He even told his mom that this was his soulmate. They went on to go into their careers after college, both their dream careers that they ever wanted, and then gave birth to a son and then to another son. And he's feeling super blessed in his life. Everything seems perfect, right? And then he goes for Easter weekend at his mother and father-in-law's house. It's 5 hours from their home. They have this great weekend, and they get in their car to leave to go home 5 hours and get back to work. And when he gets back in his car, his wife says, I just want to go say goodbye to my parents just one more time. And it stood out to him, and he watched this wonderful, loving goodbye that she said to her mom and dad. And then she got in the car, and he looks in his rearview mirror, and he sees his newborn baby that's in a car seat, and his 7-year-old, and his wife leans her seat back and takes a nap. And he gets this moment of absolute, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I could not have dreamt of this life being so fulfilling as this. He's driving along, he's thinking about his great weekend that he had, he's in gratitude, but at some point he dozes off at the wheel. And when he wakes back up, he's lost complete and total control over the car, and it now flips down a highway like 8 or 9 times. When it stops, he sees that his wife has been killed in the car accident. There's a hole in the window of the back seat, and the newborn baby's not in the car, and his son's crying behind him. And everything, the light is going out. He's leaving his body. He is broken beyond. He's severed his leg. He's got internal issues beyond belief, and he leaves the body, leaves the scene and everything. And he goes to this unbelievable place that is just filled with love. There's no regrets, there's no sadness, there's no nothing. It's absolute peace, and he's with his wife. And they're just basking in this wonderful experience where they are. But she is in awareness that there's a child still in that car. And she says, you have to go back. Because there was no way she could come back from the things that had happened to her in that accident. Unfortunately, she's laying down and there was a seatbelt, as you can imagine. And he doesn't know how he's going to go back and be a father without her. She kind of did it all for him. And the next thing he knows, he's wandering around a hospital and witnessing the people in the hospital. But he's in a light form. He witnesses a man that's clearly a drug addict, and he's walking by the drug addict, and he feels this heart connection to this man and feels an incredible sense of compassion and love, like total brotherhood with this person. And then he goes on to see doctors, and every person he's having this interaction with, there's a sense of brother and sisterhood in a way that he never realized that we were connected. And then he sees a nurse that's working on some patient, and he gets a whole flash of her childhood where she was terribly abused as a child, sexually and every other way. And here she is, this light being, giving back to help people heal from major issues in their life. And his heart is just in absolute awe of this being that has been through so much. And here she is, she's here to serve. He feels this connection. And then he comes across his body in a bed. And he has no connection to it. So he's felt this connection from a drug addict to this nurse to a doctor. And all he's feeling is the oneness, absolute and total oneness. And he goes on to say that he realized that he was the drug addict, and the drug addict was him. He was the nurse, and the nurse was also him. But now when he sees himself, there's no connection because his him is not connected to the body. He's realizing he's not in his body, and now he sees how broken this body is that he has to go back to because he's going to have to lose his leg. His arm is completely destroyed. He was a runner. All of the things that he was, he's not going to be able to do now looking at this body. But all he can think is, I got to get to my son. And the second he goes, I have to get to my son, he ends up in his body. And he starts to talk about intention. And our intention that we don't realize, we talk about that in Unity all the time. We talk about the law of attraction and what we put out to the universe comes back to us. But that we really don't get it because we really don't practice as a soul being in this human experience. That we can literally, he got it because he didn't know how to get back in that body. He wasn't sure how you get from the spiritual body to the physical, but then how fast that happened. And an understanding of how you manifest in this world, that doesn't leave us because he was in the spirit world and this body is practically dead. He got a knowing. It's the intention behind everything that I want to create that I create. But when he entered his body, he explains the heaviness he felt, the guilt, the shame. He felt like he'd killed his wife and his baby. His body was destroyed and was on a ventilator, and he was in the hospital for 6 months. But while he was fighting for his life, he says, it was like he had one foot in the body and the other foot free of the body. He also had continued communication with his wife, who had crossed over in the accident. Trivial messages like she told him, give my dresses to my sister-in-laws, give my jewelry to my cousin, and then some of her messages to him were things like, how much she loved him, how she'll always be with him, but she wanted him to move on, that she would send him the partner that would eventually raise her son. But then he goes on to say that he was going in and out, so he's having these in-his-body experiences where he is so sick with infections, he almost died so many times, to these moments where he's getting to go to the other side, where it's home in a way. It's so recognizable, the memory is something we've all been in, that he doesn't want to come back to the physical. Why would I want to go to the physical with this body that's all jacked up and not ready to, but except that I have a son that I love more than life itself, but I don't want him to do it as a handicapped person, because here I'm free and I'm running in the fields and I'm feeling this freedom and I'm feeling the love of God. And he says he finally was out of ICU and he went into a sleep state while he was in a regular room, and this is one of the most profound experiences he had, and I'm going to share this in a video.
I got this message. It was like a knowledge, like a knowing that you're not here to stay. And I thought, oh, I just want to stay, And about the time I got that message, there was this corridor off to my left, and I knew intuitively I'm to go down there. And I made my way down the corridor, and as I did, I could see something at the end of the corridor, and so I made my way to the end of the corridor. And when I got there, it was a crib, much like the one Griffin had been sleeping in because he was still just a baby. I raced to the crib, and I looked in the crib, and there was Griffin. There was my little boy. And he was sleeping as peacefully and as beautifully as when I had peeked in the rearview mirror on the ride home. And I swept him up in my arms. Now, I had worried and had pain over that because I knew he'd been thrown from the car, and I didn't know what had happened, but I knew he had been killed. But there he was, perfect. And when I swept him up, and again, it was so physical what I could feel. I could feel the heat from his body, and I thought, he's okay. And I could feel him breathing. I could feel his rib cage expanding. I could feel his breath on my neck, and I thought, he's okay. He's just fine. And then I smelled his hair. You know, I smelled his hair and thought, it's my little boy. He's perfect. He's okay. And I could feel him solid against me. And I was even marveling then, if I'm out of the body, how does it feel so physical? But it did. I could feel and smell and taste and touch everything. And I began to weep, just thinking, oh, he's okay. And I was holding him, and I had longed for that over those months. And as I was holding him, I felt an intense feeling behind me. It was a presence. It felt so cosmic, so big, so wise, so powerful. And I began to become fearful. In fact, my thoughts were, that's God. I am in the presence of God. And then I began to have those guilt feelings again. I was holding my little boy thinking, he died because I crashed the car. He's here because I messed up and lost control. And I began to think, my thought was, I hope I'm forgiven. I hope some way I can be forgiven for, did I take the life of my little boy? That was the guilt. It was very deep. And as I was weeping, holding him and feeling this presence come behind, and as I had that thought, suddenly this presence came so close, and this felt physical too. I felt these loving arms wrap around and hold us. And the message just came as powerful as could be. There's nothing to forgive. Everything is in pure divine order. Everything is okay. And it was almost like there was just this download of truth and knowledge and love and peace and all those misconceptions I had about God, that I was being tested, that I was probably failing, that I was going to be judged. Those were swept away in pure, unconditional love. There are not even words for the love that I felt.
Everything was in pure divine order. I think this is a really important example of how we make something good or we make something bad, depending on what we go through, right? And this particular passage of the video touched me because I lost a baby, and I also was taken to the other side to actually hold my baby as well. And that profound experience for me, and I didn't die to have it, I was in a sleep state. I saw myself sleeping on the bed when my grandma actually took me, who had passed away, to go be with my son, Luca. And when I came back, there was a sense that I was going to be okay. It was probably about 4 days after I had lost him. And so everything he's saying so resonates with what I experienced of that unconditional love of this universe, that everything is in divine order, even though it may look like it's so out of order, so wrong, right? Like, look at the world right now. We can get signed up with that. But look at what people go through and still can find that they're forgiven, that you're a perfect child of God, and that no matter what ever happened in the past, today you can reclaim this divine connection with God, because God's not holding you separate and apart from anything but unconditional love and peace. You would be holding on to the past that would be keeping you from that wholeness. And when we really find that wholeness in ourselves, or we really find that love for self, then we can start to work with this universe with intentions to grow our lives into whatever that urging is that's within you, and making that your meditation, that urge, letting it be a part of your awareness, getting to that higher state of consciousness and letting it grow, letting that prana move into your body and grow a life that God's wanted for you all along. But somehow we get stuck somewhere in our limitations and in our fears. And we've lived and operated from that instead of that which is God's creation as us, as an out picturing of this love. So I want to remind you that that man's name is Jeffrey Olson, and he said at one point when he was passing the people where he became one with them, he said, I realized that everybody has troubles, but all he felt was deep, unconditional love for them. He speaks about the nurse that he observes and witnessed the terrible child abuse. But when he went to her, all he felt was unconditional love. And then going to the drug addict and realizing that he was the drug addict. And then a Bible quote, because he had an upbringing of the judgmental God that judges you. So a quote from Matthew had come up, Matthew 25, 40 through 45. And it says, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. He really got it now. Like, I didn't get that passage before, as much as he realized we have to take care of each other regardless of the mistakes they've made, regardless of what happened in the human form, that we are equal, that we are taking care of them because we're taking care of them for God. If we have something to share, we take care of each other. We don't keep separating ourselves over all these different issues that this world is helping us separate from each other, instead of just deep compassion and understanding. That what I was saying last week, we haven't walked 10 miles, 100 miles in the moccasins of anybody. We don't know where or what causes them to have the opinions for what they do. But what if we can still love them unconditionally and accept them for who they are and where they've awakened from? I used this quote last week, and I think it's an important one. God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. I want to leave us with that. God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity. So if you've come in here and you've had that, ask God to take that away from you and speak to the power of love that you are, that God witnesses you as you in this expression. And watch how your marriages heal. Watch how your bodies heal. Watch how your relationships heal with your parents. Watch how everything heals with your children. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. So I just want to do a singing meditation with Norma, just for a minute, and then we'll close the service. But just opening up to these words, and you can sing them with us if you would like. And I'll ask Claire to start. Thank you. Open my eyes, O divine one. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to feel you. I want to feel you. Open my eyes, O divine one. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to feel you. so it is. Amen.
Yes, go ahead and clap. My goodness. A world full of difficulty. And yet you can step out of it. You came here today. You stepped into God's voice. We all did. Can you imagine what it would be like if more and more people could hear this and get in touch with this? You know, there are millions of people in coffee shops right now on a Sunday. It used to be that maybe more people were in church. They're in coffee shops. Their God is that, that latte, that caffeine hit. And they're looking to figure out ways that they can make more money so that they can feel good. And yet, they don't understand what they're actually surrendering. And yet, what we felt this morning, what we experienced this morning, should be the message in everyone's mind and heart today. I'm asking all you people that are watching this online to honor what takes place here at Unity of Boulder. It is something very, very beautiful. And it shouldn't be so unique as it is. You know, there are churches throughout the world today preaching guilt, and you're going to hell unless you honor the dogma that we're laying out there. But where can you go to find out that you are always in the presence of God, and only what you think and what you fear is keeping you from feeling the love that you can feel for every person, the compassion. This is amazing talk today. All of our talks of today is so beautiful. You should know that. It should be reflected in you giving something back to Unity of Boulder. I'm speaking to you online too. I know it gets easier to sit and watch this on television, and then when it's over to go back to having your breakfast or going out to take an automobile trip and not really giving anything back to Unity. So I'm asking you to go a little deeper and to realize that we're in the world here. We're holding this message for everyone in this world where you have to pay your way. We have to pay our way. It's not free. Everything here costs money. These services cost money to put on. So with that in mind, let's bring to our hearts the offering we'd like to make today, what financial gift you'd like to make today. And let me say, it'd be very helpful if you could make an ongoing donation, a regular donation. You can do that by calling the office, speak to Mike, and set it up so that you have it. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but something that actually makes you a part of Unity of Boulder, makes you part of the beauty and the majesty of the Spirit that actually operates here at Unity. It's maybe only $5 a month, but do it on a regular basis so we can figure out how much money we have to spend, because we went under $16,000 the month before last and $9,000 the month before that. That's just starting to happen. That's because we don't have the people coming into the physical building where it used to be packed. Now people watching online, they forget about giving. It's a chore. I'm asking you to lift yourself up and do what you know is right to do. Honor the God we share. And bring to mind that gift you'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. And if you want to bring it to your hands, if it's a check or something here physically, let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
So, oh, my mic is on. How lovely. All right. Please give a warm Unity welcome to our friend Anjanique Shine. Anjanique is a true creative with many talents as a singer-songwriter, performer, painter, author, numerologist, healer, and empath. She's produced 4 CDs with top Santa Barbara musicians and has sang in the Agape International Choir, as well as for Unity and Unitarian churches and the Center for Spiritual Living. In her one-woman show, From Pain to Peace, Untitled shares her unique life experiences to offer insights to her audience. She's the author of the book, Hear My Song, a true story of a woman who sheds light in dark places, the foreword of which was written by Michael Beckwith. This memoir offers hope and healing to those struggling with the aftermath of traumatic experiences. And Janique has been on an intense journey through the mind, body, and spirit, which really comes through in her music. She's also the creator of a fun, self-expressive workshop that you can learn more about on her website, freeaswego.com. Thank you for being here, Janique.
Thank you. What a lovely introduction. This is a song that was written through me called A Power and a Presence. And it happened during a Christmas last year when I was asked to sing at a Center for Spiritual Living experience where there were churches from all over. There were like 35 churches and 35 different mangers in this one church. And it was such a beautiful experience. The world is in shock by what is brought on by itself. Nothing is more certain than why we have failed. Millions are ready to try something else as we discover the secrets of the ages. There is a power and a presence hiding in every soul. In every purpose, with faith and love we can be whole. My spirit is within us as we dance into the light. Open and willing, enjoying its delight. Ooh, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la, hey, la 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 la, la 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 la. And the world is in search of an answer to this question. Each day we get closer to seeing what is real. Kindness and compassion are all we need, uniting the secrets of the ages. There is a power and a presence guiding every soul. In every purpose, with faith and love we can be whole.
Thank you, Angelique. That was beautiful. All right, well, we want to let you know that we have prayer partners available to you if you're facing a challenge today. And we have Erin right here. She has the white scarf on her, so she'll come and find you. If you're having an issue, just stay seated and she'll come find you and pray with you in the sanctuary or down in our beautiful meditation room. We also want to let you know that we're doing a meet a friend in social out right after in the fellowship hall, which we have special little foods and coffee and lemonade and stuff, so come join us over there. And for the board members, we have a board meeting this Tuesday at 6 p.m. Oh, and then Michael Morphew, who passed away a couple weeks ago. I don't know if we announced that to you. He was on our board of directors. His memorial is this Thursday at 11 a.m., so come join us for that. And we also have Gail Wagner's memorial this Saturday at 11 a.m., and all of you know her from the choir, and if you've been with this church, you've known her. She was our head of our prayer partners and our prayer team for the longest time and involved in so many ways. She was our family. She spent Thanksgiving and everything with our family. So, and Michael Morphew was a personal, really close friend of mine, actually, like literally an angel on the earth.
Right.
For me and our family in this church. So, yeah, please join us, and there'll be a reception after both of those memorials. All right, now we'll leave an up message here. Let's stand up and we'll close with our closing song.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. In the Spirit. Let the Spirit run my life. I can't get my heart. Heart is open.
There you are.
Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I'm free. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo, beautiful singing. You're awesome.
Oh, we just have to get our masks on real quick.